Hey guys, how you doing? For the regular viewers, you'll notice, oh no, what happened to the beard? It disappeared. I woke up this morning like this, guys. I woke up this morning and it just had vanished. So I just watched basically all of the information I could about CPAC, the Conservative Party Alliance Committee. Oh my goodness. Because I'm completely blanking on this name all of a sudden. I'm the best researcher in the world, guys. Get all your facts and evidence from me. The Conservative Party Action Committee. I did it. I'm so proud of myself. Hooray. This is an absolutely terrifying event. It was a terrifying thing to behold. It was absolutely disheartening in many ways. I'm so happy that I get to actually talk about it now and hopefully alleviate and find some catharsis with this event, because it not only is it terrifying from a completely racial standpoint, right? Like they built their stage to look like an odal rune, for God's sakes, which is a Nazi symbol for racial purity, right? It was used by I believe the Race and Settlement Office for the Nazis. Like this is a serious thing that they've done, and they've put in front of the entire world for their leadership to stand upon and then talk about issues of race, issues of war, right? Absolutely horrifying. But that to me is not the most horrifying thing. Not one of the most dissettling and things is actually something like this. So these guys are chanting, "We love you, we love you, we love you," while Donald Trump is saying stuff like this.
And it's becoming a party of love.
So these guys see themselves as a movement of love, right? Like they're saying, we're a movement of love, we're here to bring love, right? Like when you listen to everything that these guys are saying, everything they are saying and doing is exactly what the Nazis were saying and doing. Everything that they are saying and doing is exactly what the Nazis were saying and doing. And we're just watching it unfold in America. But what's absolutely the most unsettling and disturbing thing about what happened at CPAC is that the two major issues of the day, the two major issues that everybody in America and everybody in Western society is dealing with, income inequality and climate change, were completely ignored, right? They just held a 3-day festival of conservatism, and what they used that for was race baiting, was condemning the Democrats, obviously, but specifically AOC, specifically Bernie, right? Of course they talk about Biden, he's their president, but the amount of times that they would bring up AOC and Bernie, I can't imagine why a group of racial purists would continue bringing up the black woman and the Jew who are actually attempting to push an agenda against the billionaire class. Yeah, I can't imagine why they would be doing that. We're facing something extremely dangerous, you guys. We want to believe that Donald Trump was defeated in the last election, but 55% of Republicans still support him, right? 55% of Republicans are still on board with Donald Trump as their leader. This means he's not going away. This means that his son, Eric Trump, is being groomed for leadership in the future as well. This means that we're looking at a dynasty, a Trump dynasty, where it'll be Trump first, and he's gonna run again in the next election, and then it's gonna be his son, right? So we're looking at a possibility of 16 more years of dealing with Trumps. And in the meantime, we, the global population, are looking, we need to confront climate change, and we need to confront income inequality. And this organization, which has the power to take over the largest military on the face of the planet, isn't even talking about it. The only time they actually bring the issue up is to talk about the Green New Deal and then just dismiss it. Just completely discard it, completely ignore it. And the balm for all of this, right? Because what was so agonizing watching CPAC was that they would occasionally actually talk about things that were legitimate grievances. I talk about this a lot on this channel, that the Republican Party is not without its legitimate grievances. In fact, one of the strengths of Donald Trump was his willingness and ability to acknowledge the problems that exist within the society. But instead of actually saying, and then the issue is billionaires and the issue is climate change and moving forward on those grounds, instead of saying anything like that, Donald Trump goes, oh yes, it's the immigrants taking your jobs. Oh yes, the trouble is China, the China virus, right? These sorts of dog whistling, race baiting sort of statements in order to build a coalition within the Republican Party of people who are going to go along with that. And what's so terrifying, especially from Donald Trump's perspective, is that Donald Trump, he's not an ideologue, right? He's just taking what people are saying and saying it back to them, okay? This is how you end up with people who are chanting, "We love you, we love you," to a politician, right? To a person who does not have their best interests in mind, who is not fighting for them, who is not fighting for their interests, right? He is just interested in himself. And so Donald Trump has become this like cathartic meme of people's ire against the Democratic Party, who is largely responsible for dismantling the social services and largely responsible for dismantling the manufacturing base and the job sector that people relied on in order to feed their family, in order to create stability for themselves, right? Bill Clinton is one of the great offenders. NAFTA, right? And Donald Trump brings up NAFTA because people hate this legislation. People hate what has happened to them, and people rightfully point at the Democratic Party for their involvement in this. But they fail to recognize that ultimately figures like Donald Trump are allied to people in the Democratic Party, that they exist as a class, because our society has not been permitted to do a class analysis, right? We're not permitted to actually speak along communist or socialist lines. We're not permitted to actually look at our society and say, hey, we exist in classes. Let's analyze the society that way and actually talk about it in a meaningful way. No. In fact, if you go to the Republican Party CPAC, if you go to CPAC and you start talking about classes, they'll just say, "What are you, a communist?" And they'll move on, right? You're not permitted to bring this stuff up. They're still saying, even after the Venezuela sanctions, even after the UN released a report condemning the Venezuelan sanctions, which I have read on this channel. You can go take a look at the video. They're still saying, look at Venezuela, right? They're still saying that socialism is a failure. Just look at Venezuela, right? And they're not going to back off of it because these people, the neoliberal agenda that we live in, is allied against the populace. And what is so terrifying about CPAC is that it is a revelation that the neoliberal establishment will ultimately allow the fascists, who are openly flaunting their fascism, who are openly flaunting their racial purity, they will allow the fascists to organize under the umbrella of neoliberalism, and then ultimately they will ally themselves with those fascists, because The fascists are going to go after the poor. The fascists are going to go after the weak. They're not going to go after the Democrats. They're not going to go after people like Joe Biden or Nancy Pelosi, right? They're not going to go against anybody like that. They're going to go against poor people who live in ghettos because they've been oppressed for decades and centuries of policies that have been designed to grind them into the earth. And all the Democrats are doing right now is playing this petty politics. They're playing this petty politics where they're pretending like they can't get a whole bunch of stuff done. And what is going to happen, and what I fear more than anything, is that the Republican Party is going to continuously point out that Joe Biden is doing things like bombing the Middle East, like he's continuously doing things like not actually addressing the material needs of the populace, right? They're going to continuously show that the Biden administration is in many ways exactly the same as the Republicans. One of the most terrifying things I think I saw during this period of time was PragerU. PragerU releases a statement saying, oh sure, when we have ICE detention centers, right, it's kids in cages, but when the Democrats do it, oh, it's a migrant children detention center, right? And what's so scary about that is that it's not a condemnation of the policy. They're not saying that we shouldn't put kids in cages, right? They're just saying that the Democrats are hypocrites for pretending that the policy is bad while just renaming the policy, right? And so what we have, like, who do you vote for? Who do you support? Do you support the raving sociopaths who are actually locking up kids in cages while simultaneously going, yes, and we have to. These people are evil rapists who are coming to steal your jobs, right? Do you vote for those guys? Or do you vote for the guys who are like, no, this policy is evil, but then continue doing the policy? So the Republicans are actually banking on the idea that you are going to vote for the crazed maniacs who are not lying to you instead of the crazed maniacs who are lying to you. And this is the state of American politics, and it is absolutely, completely terrifying, because we are going into a period now where we need to be fighting full throat, full force against climate change. We need to actually be building a war economy, right? We need to be building a war economy to fight against climate change and to actually make decisions based on what is needed instead of allowing this chaos market to decide what happens. Like, do you think a group like the Republican Party in its current iteration, when oil prices start to go up because the oil is running out, do you think they're going to go, well, the oil is running out, and so prices go up, and I guess that's completely normal, and so we all need to collectively make intelligent decisions? Or do you think they're going to act the same way they've been acting with these masks? Do you think they're going to act the same way that they've been acting about all kinds of issues where they live in this sort of delusional headspace? Do you think that they are going to help minority groups actually get access to this oil, or do you think they're going to abandon them en masse, right? So the crisis is right in front of us. We're completely ignoring it. And it is completely evident if you just watch CPAC. They're openly stating this stuff. They're not pretending. Okay, guys, this is the end of this video. Please like, share, subscribe. Please like, share, subscribe. We've got to send this stuff around. We need more people talking about this stuff openly in public. We need more people fighting the good fight, right? If you've got a buck jangling around in your pocket, I've got a Patreon down below in the description. Please consider donating, right? Every little bit helps. Even $1 helps, guys. Okay. You guys are doing great out there, okay? We have a big, huge uphill battle coming our way, and we need good people fighting the good fight. Good luck. We're gonna need it.